It didn't add us back to the stage automatically. That's been my
I
day.
thought about it and I was like, if I touch it, he's gonna bring me right back down.
Well, normally it does that for us, so I don't know if I don't know. Who knows? I'm fired up already though. Anybody who's in here watching us on Rumble or X, you've probably seen some of my posts. I'm duking it out. I'm duking it out with those leftist lunatics. Had enough.
And block.
I've had enough.
Who blocks Lou?
I know. I'm so sweet. I'm just like a little baby cuddly bear. Until I bite you. I don't know.
Are
Well,
you a
what it
black
is,
bear or a white bear?
yeah, these people have totally lost their minds. They really have. And you know what really gets me? What really sets me off? We got so much to talk about today. We got the school shooting, which is really sad in itself. I got an article that I want to talk about, which ironically just popped up on my feed today, and it's dealing with decades of evidence against SSRIs, antidepressants, and stuff. And I don't even know if that's the case in the school shooting yet. I did see a picture of an alleged shooter, which appeared to be a female, and they are saying that it was a female, but they would say that a man trying to dress up as a female or transition to a female is a female. So I don't know what the truth is. I don't really care right now. But bottom line, we got that to talk about. Steve Bannon, which has really set the lunatics off because they've been completely trolled on social media, and they're too stupid to figure it out, or they're using it as an engagement tool to get lots of impressions. It's one or the other. And I would have to, in all honesty, say that it's probably more stupidity, but a little small slice of engagement farming or trying to build up the impressions. We'll talk a little bit also about Justin Trudeau, possibility of resigning. There's all kinds of rumors flying around. Who knows? We got a lot to talk about, though. There's more breaking news. Trump had a press conference today, which buckle up, buttercups, because you're going to get a lot of those probably on a daily basis. So you better get used to a real president, a real leader being back in office. He's going to keep you posted, he's going to keep you updated. He's going to treat you like we, the people, should be treated and let you know what's going on. He also mentioned drones today. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. So I don't know. Where's everyone want to start? Where do you think we should start with all of the crazy headlines we got going on today? Anybody have a preference, or should
But
I
there's
just?
just
Hmm?
so much. We can roll wherever you want to roll. But did you hear about the two people from Boston that were helping the Iranian people?
I saw you post something, I believe, in the
Oh
group chat. Yeah,
boy. Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to read it though. So what's going on with that? What's going on with the? You said two people in Boston,
There were
right?
two people, yep, in Newton that were arrested for helping with drone intelligence for Iran that ended up with, I think, 3 of our people killed and maybe 1 injured. I'd have to reread it again to refresh my memory, but I was like, what is happening?
Well, it goes back to what we've all been saying, not just us on our show, but just about every right leaning show, and even some, down the middle and left leaning have admitted this that we don't know who's come across our border, the known gotaways. We don't know any of that stuff. Quite crazy, actually, because they could be sympathizers to, the leaders of Iran. They could be sympathizers to Iraq. It just doesn't matter. And there definitely could be adversaries, and they could be here under false pretenses, planted as if in
Oh,
the
yeah.
community. Yeah, we don't know what
And
they're going to do.
Massachusetts just says, hey, come here. We'll protect you.
Well, yeah, and I think it's going to be one of those situations where they're going to do that until they get bit, and then the people will start pushing back. Hopefully, and then again, it doesn't mean that it will happen, but usually, you go so far and until it comes. Look at what's happening in New York. They figured it out. you know,
Hmm.
and then Chicago, listen to the people. Although the mayor of Chicago nor the governor, either one's listening still, but the people have woken up and they're tired of it. And I hope that Boston would do the same thing. So, um, but
I've
anyway,
seen it. Like I said, when I told you when I went to go vote.
yeah.
Nope. Is
His
my
little
internet doing that thing again?
No, I'm laughing at the I just switched over to the comments. He's my cuddly bear. Joe said, "Is Lou a cuddly bear?" Oh. See, someone in here knows what to look for now. I'm gonna do what's up, your best friend? What I'm gonna do Dubuque, Iowa, I believe, if I remember correctly. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start doing something like that, and we're gonna do, like, maybe once I don't know how often, we're gonna do some kind of a giveaway, like a gift or something. When someone figures something
Oh,
out, put in there or plant, maybe we'll send you something like some blackout coffee or something. Yeah, isn't Jim Jones a cult leader? Why would you ask that? I don't know. Who is Jim Jones? Anybody know? Huh. I've been called a cult leader all day. Said I was in a cult, so I figured I might as well
I'm
be the
proud to be in
leader.
your cult.
Yeah, I might as well be the leader. So, yeah, if you look at my name, it says Jim Jones. So, yeah, that's for your viewing pleasure there, everyone. Enjoy. All right, we don't have a lot of videos tonight. We're going to do a whole lot of splaining, but I do have about 6 minutes worth. One's like a little over 4 minutes, and one's a little over 2 minutes. And since we were just talking about all the people who came across the border, I came across two clips today of Ben Berquam, and he does a lot of Anthony Arguello, which we've seen him. He does a lot of live stuff down on the southern border. Terry uh, follows him as well, and he does a lot of great work down there, exposing a lot of the corruption and the lack of accountability down there on the border. Well, Ben is another one of those guys. He crossed over into Mexico and just as a reminder, again, going back to how we opened up with people up in Boston trying to help the Iranians, and we don't know who all else has come into our country. I think these clips will kind of segue. It'll be perfect. Wasn't he associated with the Jonestown Massacre? You got it. That'd be him. But see, okay, well, here, yeah, I'm just gonna be just like them. I'm gonna drink, and if I fall over in my chair, y'all know what happened.
Oh
The cult
no,
members have drank. Yeah. All right. Watch
that's
me
some
now.
high quality H2O.
Lose pelvis post. All right. So we're going to go ahead and which one? I don't know if I'm going to play. Let's go ahead and play this Cartel Shops. This is interesting. Very interesting. But check this one out.
They got everything down here. Backpacks and hats and everything you could need. Water bottles. Even have the jugs with the camouflage around them. There's about 20 of these shops all throughout Sonaita, and all of these communities, as you go down in the heavy cartel areas, selling carpet shoes, selling the camouflage, selling everything you need to get across the border. And all of these communities, this is becoming bigger and bigger business because of Joe Biden and the Democrats.
Everybody to know this is what is used inside crossing to not be identified. They're being sold by the bunch like this. So easy to just go in there, and with all this, being sold, the whole package, it is part of it. Pares, dos pares. Dos pares. ¿Cuánto valen esas?
50 pesos cada una.
Ah, ok. ¿Aquí es un par? Sí. Y aquí es otro. ¿Cuánto le doy por todo?
Carpet shoes, manufactured, sold all over the place. You put these over your feet so you don't see them through the desert. All of these shops dedicated, and actually the shop we just came out of was 100% dedicated, not to hunters, but to illegals crossing into America. This industry increasing because of traitorous Democrats. Joe Biden and the Democrats. You guys did this. And the rhinos. If we can't, with the House, the Senate, and the presidency, change this, we don't deserve to be in office. Speaker Johnson, the Senate, President Trump's going to do it, but we need the House and the Senate to do their job. And as you drive through town, there's just shops all over the place now. And some of them have other things, Christmas decorations and regular clothes. But every shop in this little town and towns like this, Sassabee, same thing, multiple shops down there, same thing. They cater to illegal immigration. There's an entire industry now around this. Got a couple pairs of carpet shoes, got a new hat. Going to be bringing these to AmpFest this week in Phoenix. The invasion continues, all of it exacerbated by Joe Biden and the Democrats' open borders policies that have taken Customs, Border Protection, and Border Patrol off the line to process fake asylum seekers, to process the CBP-1 applicants. And all that's done is increase the cartel activities of runners and gotaways out in these areas. So when they tell us they know the number of people that have come into our country illegally, they have no idea, and they have to be held accountable.
All right. Thank you to
Wow.
Real America's Voice and Ben Berquam. If you guys don't follow him, guys and gals, follow him on X. He's got a lot of great content. That just goes on for like another minute or more. And it's just, they got a hidden camera there, like a trail cam. And it's just showing all the people who are buying that clothing that he just showed you. And they, yes, military age men, exactly. And then they're coming into the country, and you can see, if you looked on the day shots, you could see that the border wall, the fencing was right there. So they were coming out into the border right there at that spot. So it's a known thoroughway, and that's what was happening. So I got one more clip here, and again, I just thought this was a perfect segue into this since we were talking about this. And again, we don't know who's in our country. Not all of these people that we're seeing walk in with these masks and everything else, they're not all from Spanish-speaking countries. They could be from China. They could be from Kazakhstan. They could be from all different places. So we don't know who's here. We don't know what their intentions are. And it's a very dangerous situation. So for those of us who are questioning everything, we have a right to question everything, because we know that something really bad is probably going to happen, and we don't know if it's going to be a dirty bomb. We have no clue. We don't know if it's biological. Just don't know. And what makes it worse is that we don't trust our government. We don't trust our agencies. We don't trust anything pertaining to the United States establishment. And that's a very, very bad place to be, and a very scary position to be in for anybody. Francis says it makes it extremely easy to sneak a briefcase nuke into the country. Yep. And there's plenty of rumors going around right now about these drones that they're out, looking for this. They have sensors or something, and they're trying to, detect radiation. So who knows? I'm not saying yay or nay. Anything's possible. I just think it's our government that's got these things up in the air. So let me play this last clip here. This is more about some of the illegals that were spotted while he's down there moving around, and they're trying to load them into vehicles and buses, illegals from Venezuela.
What do we got here? We got migrants? What are you doing?
Venezuela! Venezuela! Venezuela.
Oh, migrants. Are they getting on the bus?
Ah, jeez. And you got a car.
Okay, so as we're doing the video on the terrible toll roads, we got a group of illegals run across the road, almost get hit. And we noticed there's a bus, a tour bus right there. It had pulled over. It was about to let them on. Oscar started filming it, saw that we were filming and it took off without him. Tell us why that's a big deal, Oscar.
Because these tour buses, if they're stopping to pick up migrants, they are charging them a lot of money to take them to one place to another. You know, sometimes they charge between $100 to $150 per person. And the migrant, these are migrants that they're receiving remittance from the United States to get them all the way to the United States. So
There's another one right there. So this bus was pulling over to pick up the illegals. So just to clarify that, we caught a tour bus about to illegally pick up illegals, and the only reason it didn't was because we're filming it. And I feel kind of bad for the guys stuck on the side of the road now. They thought they were getting picked up, but it just shows there's this all kinds of illegal activity over here. That tour bus thought he was going to make a few extra bucks, but as soon as the cameras came out, he just ditched them on the side of the road. So on top of them just making money, aiding and abetting the human trafficking, smuggling operations, the invasion of America, they're also putting the illegals in danger. If I hadn't been paying attention, I would have killed that girl running across. She ran right out across a freeway in the middle of traffic to get on that bus, which had parked in a very dangerous place, simply to pick them up and make some extra money. So it's just all bad. It's bad everywhere. It's all bad. They're coming from all over. It is not stopping. It's not slowing down. As long as they feel like there's an opportunity to get in, they're going to keep coming. And as long as Joe Biden and Kamala Harris keep the doors open, it's just going to continue like this. And the worst part is they know it. They know this is setting up. They know it's going to be a disaster. They know all these people have to be deported, and they're going to try to blame President Trump for what they caused. It's the worst kind of evil. They pretend to be good to these people, knowing that they all need to be deported. It screws up America, it screws up Mexico, and it even screws up the people that are trying to get a better life.
Wow. I would love to do that job. And thank you again to Real America's Voice for those clips that they have posted on social media. And Ben Berquam, I love his account. I watch so much of his stuff. Really interesting. And he goes in some really crazy places because those places that he's in now, there's no guarantee that something bad's not going to happen to him. So he's putting his butt on the line to get the story. So, and there's a lot of people out there like that that are actually doing some crazy stuff to get the real story out there to the American people. So there you have it. And I saw somebody in the chat had said something about tour buses. Yeah, tour buses have been in this since day one when they started doing this. And don't forget that there were airlines that were flying these people in from outside of the country. Even though our government was behind it, but there were still passenger airliners and the airlines themselves. And we're talking, I don't know exactly which ones, so I'm not going to name them here because if I'm wrong, it's not the right thing to do. But there were definitely some big airlines that were pushing some of these people up from down south. Let's just put it that way. So, but that's what's
Delta
going on.
was one of them, allegedly.
Oh yeah, what happened?
Delta, their airlines.
Ah, Delta.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened with Delta? I'm reading through the comments. Oh, good.
They
Lord, they're talking
allegedly
football in here. Okay.
Allegedly, I know some peeps in the Boston Logan Airport, and Delta allegedly is definitely one of them flying them in.
Could be.
Mhm.
Wow.
Right to Terminal E, drop them off. There you go.
Yep. Oh well. Football. I forgot about that. Minnesota's playing tonight.
The Vikings.
Man,
Jones
it's
better
gonna be
give
a
me
good
some
year.
points.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a good year because you still got the Vikings in the mix. I watched Buffalo and Detroit yesterday. That was
Good.
quite the showdown. And then Buffalo pulled it out. Man, that Allen's something else. They're going to be really tough to beat. And Kansas City still in the mix. Although I heard that Patrick Mahomes, the last I heard, he was on, I think they said day to day, or was it week to week?
Day to day.
Day to day. He's got that injured ankle. That's
Mhm.
huge if it affects him. I mean, he can probably play through it by the time we get there, the playoffs and everything, but I don't know. I don't know that Kansas City's, gonna be able to pull this one off this year. They might. They're having a lot of trouble scoring points, and they're having points scored on them, and they're like I mean, they're nail biters. Their last 2 or 3, it's like teams they should be beating, they're barely beating them, so I don't know. It might be Buffalo or Detroit this time around. They are really forces to be reckoned with, so Delta flew them in, and Boeing hired them to work on the planes. I hope they didn't. Yeah, well, there you go. Jones, touchdown is so close. Come on, man, do it for Gina.
Jones
I
is
know.
on my fantasy football team.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I don't play none of that stuff. I don't play in those games or bet because every time I bet, I'll lose. So I
Well,
just
we
go with
just
gut instinct and I just say, nope, never bet, never gamble. And I usually come up with some pretty good predictions. I get lucky a lot. I
we
like it
don't
better.
gamble here, but we do have a little four-way running between me, my husband, my son Paul, and my middle child Erin.
Oh,
Yep.
I see. So you're teaching them to gamble without gambling with money, is what you're trying to tell me. Or you do gamble, but it's only between family members.
Between
Is that what you
family members and no
oh, that's
money.
good. Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, that's
No
no gambling.
money. It's either chores or
Yeah,
somebody's gonna make dinner or stuff like that.
cool,
So no
cool.
money is exchanged, no moonies.
Awesome. All right. Um, we're going to talk about, let's just get the sad stuff out of the way because this is crazy. But if anyone else has any more, like updated information, I mean, like really updated to where it's changed, let us know in the chat. I'm just going to read from CBS News of all places. About the Christian school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin. And it
Oh,
says, here's what we know so far.
you know
Um,
what I was thinking of earlier? Remember I texted you and I was like, I'm just so overwhelmed this week. And I literally, after I sent that to you, I sat in my car driving home, prayed, cried for no random reason. I was like, what is happening? Like
yeah.
just a sense of overwhelm. I felt like the whole world was just crushing in on me. And then I get home, I get everything in, I get settled, and I turn on the news and I'm like, that's such a coincidence. Like the same exact time that that was happening that I texted Lou that I just felt so overwhelmed was the same time as the school shooting. Like it was the weirdest thing. Like I can't explain it.
Yeah, I mean, it was when I first saw it break, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Um, but right now, at first it was reported 5, but now they're saying 2 people were actually killed, and several others were wounded in a shooting at a private Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin, um, earlier this afternoon. I think it was more around 11 o'clock hour, right before noon, Central. I think they're Central time, if not, but Eastern. I don't know. I'd have to look up there, but I'm pretty sure they're Central. But regardless, it happened around 11 something.
Oh,
Left the suspected shooter dead. Officials said at least 6 people were hurt in the shooting at Abundant Life Christian School, with injuries ranging from minor to life threatening. Let me go ahead and get through this here, and you can update me if someone comments it.
well, your best
Officer
friend lives an hour from there.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, 'cause he's up in Dubuque. So, yeah, I know right where the area that he's at, so he's real close. Officers responded to the school located at 4901 East Buckeye Road at around 11 AM. Yeah, so 11 o'clock. The shooters was confined to one space at the school, police said, but did not specify whether the shooting happened in a classroom or elsewhere. And then it goes on to say, what do we know about the suspected shooter? Law enforcement sources told CBS News the suspected shooter was a 17-year-old female. When I looked at the picture of the alleged person that was out on social media, I actually, showed it to my wife and I said, this looks like it could be a male dressed or, with long hair, but I don't know. It says female. student at the school. The Associated Press was first to report this. Officers found the suspect dead at the scene. Madison Chief of Police Sean Barnes had reported. They found the person who they believe was responsible, who was down, deceased. Authorities said the suspected shooter was dead by the time officers arrived, and no police fired their weapons. So we're only left to believe, which I even posted earlier. I had two questions, but more importantly, prayers for the families who were affected on both sides of the shooter's
Have a
family,
moment of silence.
of course. We can do that here when I'm finished. But the thing is, we have to really think about this in as far as, is this another issue where there were some of these SSRIs involved, or did it have nothing to do with it whatsoever? Could it have been just something, religious? We don't know yet until they come out and and give us more information. And then, but again, back to my post, the families should be prayed for. But then I want to know a couple questions answered. I want to know who killed the shooter. Her, we assume. Was it an officer or an officer? Was it someone like a teacher or a faculty member in this school, because they were a Christian school? There's a very good possibility, even though they were in a Democrat area, highly Democrat from what I understand. So someone in the school could have been carrying and, taken that shooter out, or did the shooter take herself out? Because she did have a 9mm handgun from all reports and indications. So I want that question answered, and then I want to know the motive. I want to know if it had something to do with trans again, or if it had something to do with religion or whatever it was. So those are my two main questions. And the whole point of the post was that, and again, to let everyone know, but the most important thing is, prayers for the family. So we can take a 10-second, 15 seconds here, and anyone who wants to say a prayer, do so, and we'll take a moment of silence for all families involved. All right. So yeah, very sad. You hate to hear this at all. And we're at a point now in our country where the first thing that comes to my mind, I'll just speak for myself. And it's a sad state, but again, two questions that I had already mentioned. But first and foremost, was it someone who was on some kind of drugs that had him, all out of whack? And then the next thing that really came to mind was, how long is it going to be before the left starts screaming gun control again? Which it didn't take them long.
I was gonna say that's already happening.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we're at in our country, and people were talking about, well, if the school can fund these things and do all these other things, then they should be able to fund security. But a lot of these people were clearly talking about public schools that are funded by the state or the cities or whatever. And I don't think they realize that we're talking about a private Christian school. So they're different when it comes to these rules and regulations. They didn't have any, detectors in there for weapons, so on and so forth. So again, I would not be surprised at all if we find out that it was someone who worked inside of that school, that Christian school, that had taken the shooter out. But then again, it could very well be that the young lady, if in fact it is a young lady, could have also taken her own life, which I don't know. It's not even a matter of it just doesn't add up. It's just we don't have any of the facts. So right now it's just pure speculation, and the fact that we're just curious to find out the why, because the left is already screaming all these things, and I would love for it to be something under the circumstances, because, we can't change what happened, that it would be some kind of medication that sent this girl over the edge. I just don't want it to be a bad upbringing, or, the parents let her have a weapon or have access to a weapon because now they can get drawn into this. This can go so many different places. So just don't want it to go there. Really a bad thing. I don't know. Did anybody update anything? Because it looks like a handgun. I'm going through the article again. A handgun was recovered after the shooting. As of Monday evening, it was not yet clear where the gun came from. It's also not yet known how many shots were fired. This is all going to take time. They do know that it appears to be a 9mm. Other than the suspected shooter, 2 people were killed, a student and a teacher. Officials said at least 6 people were injured, including 2 who were in critical condition with injuries that were considered life-threatening. And naturally, police have not yet publicly identified the victims. Names will not be released until officers speak with family members who lost loved ones in Monday's shooting. 2 injured people have been released from the hospital, and all of the injured victims were actually students. So, the chief of police, Barnes, he made it's an accurate statement, but it kind of goes without saying that we're all feeling a little dismayed now because we're only 9 days away from Christmas. Every child, every person in that building is a victim and will be a victim forever. These types of trauma don't just go away. And I did hear, we won't go any further there, but I listened to him speak, and I thought he did a really good job. Sean Barnes, the chief of police there. And unless I missed something and someone wants to point it out to me, I saw a lot of posts that were attacking him on X. So I don't know, where that was coming from, almost as if he was woke or something. I don't know. Maybe I missed a word or so, but I stood intently listening to him. And I thought he spoke eloquently. He got to the point. He said everything that we all felt. I don't know what else the guy could have done. He's not giving information out, which by law and morally he shouldn't until the families are notified, because it's none of my business to know that you lost a loved one before you even know it. And as he said, they staged, they got I don't know I forget what the word was. It was not relocate, but set up an area where family, grandmothers, mothers, fathers, whoever could come and reunite. Maybe it was a reunite setup or something to get their families and pick up the kids, because there were like 4 buildings on the campus. But like he said, they had a lot of things going on, and they were doing all of this simultaneously. They had already cleared the school out twice, and they were going back and doing it a 3rd time with bomb sniffing dogs. Cars that were on the premises, they were checking everything. They were leaving no stone unturned. And I think, that's what I want to hear from local leaders. And I also heard that the police went in right away. There was no hesitation. And again, if there's any other stories out there that contradict that, let me know. But I think, by all accounts, I think, and indications, I think the police department and SWAT team and all the other people did an excellent job under the circumstances. So
I just sent you something that somebody posted on their Facebook page that supposedly they made contact with the alleged boyfriend of the shooter.
Yeah.
And it breaks it down, to what, they're saying is kind of the truth.
Yeah. I'll read this a little bit, what she just sent me, but again, this is strictly unverified by me, so we'll just put it out there. But it just says, I have made contact with the alleged boyfriend of the Wisconsin shooter. He has graciously provided me the full manifesto, which I verified by having him screen record himself opening it from a direct link the shooter sent to him via WhatsApp. Again, this is all alleged. We do not know if this is true. just reading what is out there. So it's for you to decide or for us to, get official announcements later. But it said, I told him I would do my best to dispel some of the misinformation and present things as truthfully as I was given them, and I will hold myself to that. Her boyfriend knew her as Samantha Rupnow. Again, if it's not this person, we're not saying that it is. We're just saying what someone has posted. So this could be complete and utter garbage, and it could be the real McCoy. So she also went by a different name, one which was also feminine, but adopted the name Samantha, and this was the name her boyfriend says she had on her school identification card. She was a student at Abundant Life. She was born on November 2009. She was born female and was not transgender. Her boyfriend was born male and is not transgender. Her manifesto was titled War Against Humanity. Her manifesto is 6 pages long. In her manifesto, she spoke about having extremely difficult relationships with her parents, who she referred to as scum. She also claims her family didn't love her or want her and expresses feeling like the wrong child of her family. She says she had planned to commit suicide a long time ago, but felt committing a shooting was better for evolution rather than just one stupid, boring suicide. She expresses deep admiration for Pekka Eric Avanen. Oh, good Lord, I can't say these names. Arda Kochokintim. They're definitely, I don't know, Yugoslavian, somewhere over in Russia, Kazakhstan. Vladislav Rolkolov. But anyway, sorry about that. We'll just say, excuse me, like a sneeze. She offered particular praise for one of these names who was a Turkish neo-Nazi who committed a mass attack earlier this year and stated he was an inspiration to her. She calls him an ultimate saint. She expressed that she got the weapons to commit the attack through lies, manipulation, and my father's stupidity. So here it says weapons. We only know of one weapon, so not real sure about that fact. All they're talking about is 9mm handgun, unless she had others and just didn't have them with her today. More to come shortly. I will make some screenshots of the manifesto in the interim. Her boyfriend says the photo that is making the rounds is not how he remembers her and believes it was somewhat edited to make her look worse. He provided me a photo of her in the same t-shirt and the same room. So we're going with a community note here because it was on X. At the time of the writing of this note, the shooter has not been publicly identified by the police. Authorities have noted that unverified claims are being circulated as though fact. So again, there are pictures here, it looks like, of possible manifesto, but I'm not going to go through all of that. You all can go online and you can throw it up on the screen if you want, Gina, or where they can get that if you want. But that's what we're getting right now. And again, we don't know for sure if any of this is true, but we'll find out soon enough when the police and everyone release what they have found. And like I said earlier, it doesn't mean that it was transgender. So that might have possibly answered one of my questions, but I was thinking religious or something else, and that would tie into what I was thinking. Very angry, possibly at parents, maybe. That'll do it. But man, to go to that extent at a very young age, that's sad within itself. Really sad. So. All right, we're back over here. Let's check out the comments. Yep, she put that up there if anyone wants to look at that link. I don't recall any other female shooter, Lou. Has there been any others before school shooters? That is, yeah, I think one of them was just, man, I can't remember which one it was where she walked in. I believe that was a female, and it showed her trying to get into a door and she turned around and walked out. It was 1 or 2 school shootings ago. I'm pretty sure she was a female. The chief of police is very liberal and can't be trusted. Yeah. Well, I mean, everything I heard today though, I didn't I didn't detect any of that except for him just speaking truth. So again, me being on the outside, just kind of listening and being more focused on some of the details, I could have totally overlooked that, but I didn't detect anything right off the bat. Um, yeah, definitely sounds like suicide since they're saying police didn't shoot. And when they make a comment like that, like I said, I'm always thinking you only had two other options. Someone else in there. Well, I think Gina's trying to knock everything over on her end. You only have two options. You have the somebody within the school was armed and took that shooter out, or the shooter took herself out or himself or whoever. So, I mean, there's nothing else that could have happened unless it was just an act of Almighty and that person just died right there on the spot of a heart attack. So, like being struck by lightning. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, like my wife is saying, there was definitely one other female shooter. So it's not uncommon, I guess. I mean, they do it too. And I think a lot of that is going back to the drugs. We've done numerous shows on that stuff. So, um, which speaking of that, again, it doesn't seem like this has anything to do with it, but this popped up on my feed today, and I follow Dr. Pierre, Corey, and a bunch of the other COVID doctors who became, infamous uh, through the COVID era. But anyway, this is it's called Decades of Evidence That SSRI Antidepressants Cause Mass Shootings. How dangerous must a drug be before it is pulled from the market? And this is by a Midwestern doctor. And I'm just going to go through the story at a glance, and that's it. Which isn't a whole bunch. Story's really long. So if you want to follow the Midwestern doctor, you can do it on Substack or just do a search for a Midwestern doctor, and you can find a lot of good medical information from Dr. Pierre, Corey, and others. So I implore you, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, listen, because these people are world renowned pulmonary specialists and all this. Dr. Pierre Corey is. My doctor, Syed Haider, there's a plethora of them out there. Anyone who was, connected to the Barrington document, a lot of good people. So anyway, SSRI antidepressants have a variety of horrendous side effects. These include sometimes causing the individual to become agitated, feeling they can't be in their skin, they got to get out, turning psychotic, and occasionally becoming violently psychotic. During these psychosis, individuals can have out of body experiences where they commit lethal violence either to themselves or others. And as lawsuits have later showed, this violent behavior and the frequent suicides that followed it were observed throughout the SSRI clinical trials, but were covered up by the SSRI manufacturers and then the drug regulators, e.g., the FDA. Once the SSRIs entered the market, there has been a wave of suicides and unspeakable acts of violence. Sadly, the idea that SSRIs could cause any of this has always been viewed as a conspiracy theory or mistaking correlation with causation, because very few are aware of the extensive evidence linking SSRIs to violent and psychotic behavior, despite it now being on the warning label of these drugs. So you're a conspiracy theorist if you think this, but we put it on the bottle saying, well, you could have a heart attack. You could fall over dead at any moment. You could get dizziness. Your limbs could fall off, but be careful, whatever you take. So if it's on the drug as a warning label on the bottle, that's telling you something. So through all of these lawsuits and everything, it's brought out all of this stuff, and now it's out in the open. And again, I just wanted to talk about that. It doesn't appear that this is that situation, or in this situation, that this, there's no correlation here with this, but it did pop up on my feed at the same time, or at least today, and then the shooting happened today. So I just thought it was relevant to at least revisit and talk about this because there's a lot of inhibitors out there, antidepressants that are very harmful, mass prescribed drugs that are on the market. And these drugs that we're talking about, they usually make up like the top 5 of dangerous drugs. on the list. So that tells you a whole lot. But again, go check it out yourself, a Midwestern Doctor on Substack, or just do a search. And this article was from November 3rd of 2023, and they've found out so much more since then. It's a good read. Got a lot of good stuff on there, so check them out. Where are we at here? Yes, when our founders put that in the Bill of Rights, it was a good thing, but may not realize that it was formed for anyone to worship God any way they want, not Buddha or Allah, but God only. Yep. All right. So we covered the school shooting again. I can't even imagine what these parents are going through. It's just a sad state of affairs. And as I said earlier, people are all over this because they want to revisit gun control. And it didn't take the left long. They're going back. If you remember, before the election, we were all part of a cult. We were deplorables. We were everything you could think of under the sun. Again, in a cult that we did whatever daddy wanted us to do, Trump, all of these crazy things. And then it died down for a little while after the election. And I think I want to call it a period of shock, that they're just coming to the realization that nothing's going to change. You're not going to go back and recount the votes. None of this is going to change in the least. So now they're back on the attack again, because you're seeing them all over the feed, and they're like cockroaches. You know how cockroaches come out at night, in a heavily infested home, and you turn the lights on and they scatter. They go everywhere trying to get out of the light. Well, this is what these people are like. Okay.
Now I'm
They'll
not going to
come
be able
out.
to sleep tonight.
Yeah. They'll come out and that just creeped her out. They'll come out and they stab you, they want to run all over and just do whatever and spread disease, which is, mental illness and everything else. And like they did me earlier, they come out and call me a cult member and say some pretty nasty things. And then I go to respond and debate them, and I can't because I'm blocked. So I call them weak-minded people, very weak-minded people, because they can't handle the truth. Just like Jack Nicholson says, you can't handle the truth. You don't want to talk about it, because a cult member is someone who does anything and everything they are told to do. Because if they don't, said cult or the group will not accept you. They will boot you out. You can't have a mind of your own. And me, as the supreme rebel leader of Rebel Nation, if you don't do as I say, well,
All
if I'm
hail
like Jim
Lou.
Jones, you're all going to have to drink the stuff. You got to drink the juice, and then you all die together. But we don't think like that. That's how we know we're not in a cult, because we're not in an echo chamber. I don't believe that everything Donald Trump says is correct. I don't believe that every politician on my side, everything that they say is the truth or correct. I can call out my side. They can't. That's the difference. The left is the true cult. And you can see this because every post, I started looking through some of the posts there on X today, and I'm like, wow, these are like 5 different accounts, but they're all saying the exact same thing. So I want to see these emails. I want to see where they get their information from, because I don't see stuff like that on our side. I don't get a notification from some large account or, some Republican RNC official that says, hey, you spread this, and they do like a mass email, and everybody, on the right starts pushing out all this information. I just don't understand why they think we're the cult. Maybe it's because they themselves know that they're the cult. I don't know. It's definitely something, but I don't know. Again, it's it is one of those things where we ourselves, you can tell when you're a part of something much bigger than yourself, or at least you think you are, and you're being swayed. You're going to do and everything that they say. You're going to agree with everything. And I don't know anybody on our side that is that way. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we're called. I have no clue. All I can tell you is I am not in a cult. So, again, says shooter was Natalie Lynn Rupnow. Yeah. And not trans. It's probably true. It's probably true. I mean, not everyone has to be that. So there's a lot of people who do some crazy things that aren't trans. So, but it's a mental illness
It's
to
a
go
mental
through.
illness, and you don't know, yeah, what other medications they could be on. I mean, it's not just trans
No.
puberty blockers that are causing mental issues. You're talking about anything from excessive use of Tylenol can alter your brain perception. You know what I
Marijuana.
mean? But
I mean,
all
there's a
of it
lot of
can.
things. Yeah. And when someone's that far out, and if we have to be we have to be careful here because kids, even at that age, they're still considered minor. They're delicate. Their way of thinking and their minds are still like sponges. They're constantly taking stuff in, but they're very delicate at that age still, and a lot of crazy things can go through their heads. You know what I'm saying? And it's like they think that because maybe a boyfriend breaks up with them or something, that it's the end of the world and they like really take it hard. And then all
Mm-hmm.
you would have to
Been
do
there.
is add 20 or 30 years onto their life experiences, and they're going to be like, oh well, it is what it is. I'm going to move on. So that's the type of thing that we have to be careful with these kids. Could it have been just a mental illness, flat out, no drugs involved? Absolutely. Could be a lot of different things. So, but like I said, we'll find out in time. Proverbs 22:6, Lou will take care of that. But yeah, I don't know. Say prayers for the families. Do whatever you need to do. And again, the shooter's family also needs prayers. Prayers aren't going to do any good for those who are deceased. So pray for who's still here and who's going to have to deal with this. Um, that's all we can do at this point in time. So I'm just glad it didn't turn out to be much worse than it did. So you going to share that chapstick, Mr. Scott Awesome? You must have some chapstick going on over there. Oh my goodness. So train them up on the way they should go, and when they get older, they won't depart from it. Yep. And give them a good swat once in a while. They need it. It won't hurt them. It will not hurt them. Sent some
I'll
things.
never forget when I
Yeah.
was in the doctor's office. My son was bouncing around like crazy, and I was like looking at him, and I was like, "Oh man," because you never know with some of these doctors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he looked at him. He said, "Do it again, and you're gonna be in trouble."
Pop
He
'em.
jumped off the table onto the chair again. The doctor stood him up, whacked him on his butt, and said, "Knock it off." And he said, "There's a difference between correcting a behavior and beating your child.
Yeah.
You don't have, you know, a slipper in your hand or, you know what I mean? Like a baseball, but you're not beating your child. Same thing if they go to touch a hot stove. How are you going to tell them that it's hot if you don't correct the behavior? You're going to slap it and say, "You see how that hurt? That's going to hurt even more. Don't do it."
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, you gotta keep them in line. You gotta let them know who's boss. Manners, respect, and some kids will test you. They will test you, and you just have to fight through it because in their younger years, they're going to push back against that authority. That's normal. That's natural.
Hmm.
And then as they get older, they start. It really starts to sink in. It's entrenched in them. It's seared into their memory, and then they'll start reacting and doing a lot of those things that they fought against or pushed back against, and then they'll realize, well, I remember that's what I was always told. You don't do certain things, and it goes from there. So it's repetition and a demand for respect and manners. And then usually, if you stay with your kid and you do it in a good way, that kid's going to turn out to be okay, and they won't turn out to be like some of the ones that we're seeing now. You got to tell your kids you love them. You got to hug them, kiss them, all those things. All that stuff means so much more than we would ever imagine. So you have to do
We
those
sit
things.
down every night at the table and we eat dinner. Every single one of us. If you're home in the house, You're sitting down at the table.
We're going to start calling you the Waltons. Yeah, we do that every
Mhm.
night. And that's the way it should be. But, you know, there will come a day when they're old enough and they're out doing their own thing. When they're not at home, then they won't be sitting there with you. But, you know, might be other things going on. But it is what it is. It's the upbringing. And we talk about that all the time. You know, on the show that parenting is like, it goes back to the roots. You bring them into the world, you have to raise them the right way, and it's a you know it's a battle sometimes to get them to do the right thing. So, all
There
right,
are lots of times that I counted 10 here.
count to 10 and take a deep breath.
Jesus.
All right, so going back to this is something I mentioned. We're going to jump into the next one here that I had written down. Um, You guys remember when I was talking about all the Canadians that were upset about, Justin Trudeau being trolled by Donald Trump? And it's if they just don't get it that he's trolling him, and I just think it's glorious. It's kind of like having a good buddy who's kind of razzing you all the time, and and that's what Trump's doing. That's his way of sending a message and saying, "Hey, we're going to negotiate this. We're going to talk about it because if you don't, we're going to make you the governor of the 51st state, blah, blah, blah." He's just talking smack, okay? And maybe you understand it better if we say it that way. He's talking smack. And that's all it is. And then the leftists up there, they're losing their minds over this. They're like, "Oh, he's threatening us and he's going to going to take over our country and blah, blah, blah." I mean, a couple of us, literally, I got blocked by some of them because I told them, I said, "People, you're being trolled. You're not reading between the lines. You're not smart enough to figure out Trump has no interest, nor do any of we or us. I don't want them taking over Canada. That's I have no interest in Canada as a person, as an American. They're a sovereign country. Leave them alone." But to honestly believe that, what are we going to do? We're going to, open up the northern border and we're going to send our military up there and it'd be over in a day. Nobody's going to fight back. We're just going to walk in, take
They
over
don't
if we
have any
really wanted
guns
to.
left. They took
No.
all their guns.
Yeah, I mean, we'd run roughshod right over these people. Do we want to? No. They're brothers and sisters. I mean, come on. But now the thing's going around that they're all freaking out. The rumor that Canada's finance minister resigns, which that's not a rumor, as unpopular Trudeau faces biggest test of his political career, where there's several people in his, that surround him that are just dropping out. And it's really starting to look bad for him. So in Toronto, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau faced the biggest test of his political career after Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland, long one of his most powerful. I have no idea why you would word it that way. But anyway, why don't we just say this? One of his most powerful and loyal ministers resigned from cabinet on Monday. Yeah, I don't know what they were trying to do there by putting the word long in there. But anyway, the stunning move raised questions about how much longer the prime minister of nearly 10 years, whose popularity has plummeted due to concerns about inflation and immigration, can stay as his administration scrambles to deal with incoming U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. Trudeau swiftly named longtime ally and close friend Dominic LeBlanc the pub pubic. Good Lord, who put this thing together? That's a typo. The pubic, the public safety minister who recently, they left the L out, safety minister who recently joined him at dinner with Trump at Mar-a-Lago to replace Freeland. After being sworn in, LeBlanc told reporters he and Trudeau are focused on the cost of living facing Canadians and on finding common ground with Trump on border security and economic issues. That right there tells you that this man shook up the world. Remember the show? How it sent shockwaves around the world when he won the election. That's exactly what it did. Everybody was on notice. Trudeau later told a room of party supporters that it was the absolute privilege of my life to serve as your prime minister. I wake up every single day thinking how to make this nation work better for all Canadians. So he's in trouble, the bottom line. And a lot of people up there, Jagmeet Singh, leader of the opposition New Democratic Party, which Trudeau's ruling Liberals have relied upon to stay in power, called for him to resign earlier today, saying that he has to go. The main opposition Conservatives have not called for Trudeau's resignation, but demand an election. But a no confidence vote in the government is not imminent, with Parliament about the break or about to break before the holiday. So again, not really sure. We'd need somebody like Sean or somebody on here to really tell us what's going on up there in Canada. But I don't think it's really all completely about Donald Trump, but I think it got a lot of people thinking about it. So I got this small clip here. It's only 44 seconds, and this is exactly about what we were talking about. So check this out, and you'll see kind of the thought process up there in Canada.
Mr. Trudeau is being held in office by one man, Jagmeet Singh. A fifth of Liberal MPs have written a letter for him to resign. His deputy prime minister has walked out on him. His housing minister has quit. That on top of numerous other female ministers who stormed out after his appalling mistreatment and abuse and dishonesty towards them. 80% of Canadians have lost confidence in this prime minister. So why is Jagmeet Singh making the entire country wait for him to get his pension? That is the question today.
So there's a lot of people speaking out against him. I don't know. I don't know how their government works, but it sounds like, well, they want him out of there. We're just going to get him out of there and we'll have our whatever special election, or I don't know. French Canadians suck. Your best friend says so. I don't know. Those ones that play hockey, I like them. They got some good hockey players. Yep. I love Canadian hockey. Always have from a childhood. They can play some hockey up north. Really, really good hockey too. So a lot of great ones came from up there, like the Wayne Gretzky and all kinds of them. All right. So I don't know what's going to happen with Justin Trudeau. All I can tell you is that he's in trouble for whatever reason. Nobody up there likes him. We know what he did to the truckers when they protested, how he froze their accounts. And I don't think he's a very well-liked person. Prime Minister, I mean, it doesn't matter. They just don't like the guy. Pretty crazy when you think about it. So we'll keep an eye on that. I don't think it's going to matter what happens up there. Trump's not going to change his stance on working out deals with Canada and Mexico. He's going to do what's best for the American people, and that's what we're going to see in the future. So whatever happens up there, wherever the chips fall, let them fall where they may. It's not going to affect us because we're still going to get, eventually, Trump will get what he wants, and it's going to be what's best for us, and it's going to be in both of our favors. I would say that Canada will probably benefit as long as we also benefit. And that keeps me very, very confident and happy with Donald Trump in charge. So the other thing that was kind of in the news today in the headlines was Steve Bannon. This, again, it really sucks to be on the left right now because there's not too much that I can see that's in the news, in the headlines. No matter where you look, it's not making their heads explode. That's got to be a miserable position to live in. That everything you see on TV, everything you see on your social media feed is someone that you cannot stand. You hate them, like me. They hated me today. I don't know what happened. So instead of all the hobots coming after me, these women showing me all of their body and everything in their little bio pictures, those are the ones I block. But I was showing Tammy one night. I went through like 30 of them in a row because I told one of my followers down in Texas, Renee, I said something like good night. And if you say good night, happy birthday.
Don't forget it.
Yeah, you say some of those little bitty, just little sayings like that. and you get all these half naked women popping up on your feeds liking it. And then I just block them. But anyway, normally I have them, but today it was like a drone attack, but only through my phone on X, and it was all these left people. And another trend that I know, and it doesn't matter what I'm getting ready to say because I could care less. But I noticed that most of them don't have a blue check mark, and I think, and I don't think that means anything more than they're fighting back against Elon Musk. They won't pay for the blue check mark, so to speak. But that's the only common denominator outside of that they hate Donald Trump. And you don't know that until you read after I post something or you post something, and then they come back at you, and then you read it and you're like, where did that come from? You're a cult member, you're this and that. And then I go to respond and it keeps going, uh-oh, we can't send this. Uh-oh. And usually when you get an uh-oh, that means uh-oh, they blocked you. So you can't go back anymore. So then I just take a screenshot
Lou
of
was
what they
told
did.
where to go.
Yeah, I was told where to go. And some of my fingers and all kinds of stuff. I don't know what all he was saying. So I just took a screenshot of it and I just I quote posted it out there and said, here, look at this. I'll shame them. If you want to be that way and you want to call me names and say that I'm in a cult, I don't know. I sometimes I get in a mood where I want to have a little fun and I want to go back and forth with them. But they're so weak-minded, and it's kind of like I posted to a couple of the people. I was like, the one difference with me is that we fight with the truth. We're not in a cult. We don't agree with everything that our side says, and they are strictly. They have nothing to fight for except for abortion and calling us names. They have nothing to stand on. They have nothing but lies. Everything I see about Donald Trump, I mean, it's crazy. Again, they're coming back out like roaches. They're back out there again. So, but anyway, Steve Bannon got a 43-second clip here, and this is it's glorious. It really is. This is the biggest troll for the left that you're ever going to hear. And they took it hook, line, and sinker. Swallowed this thing. So when you go to get this fish out of the water and you're going to try to remove it, the hook, you're not. You're just going to cut it and throw it back in or keep it because, again, they swallowed this hook, line, and sinker. It's gone. Sometimes, dear, question. All right. Check this clip out.
400 days from Gavin Wax did that, Donald John Trump is going to raise his hand on a King James Bible and take the oath of office. His third victory in his second term. And the Viceroy, Mike Davis, tells me, since it doesn't actually say consecutive, that, I don't know, maybe we do it again in 28. Are you guys down for that? Trump 28? Come on, man.
That's all it took. Head started exploding. Donald Trump, we told you he's a dictator. He wants to run for a third term. Wow. But I will say this much. I like listening to Steve Bannon. He gets people riled up, and that's all he did here. Again, he's the left is being trolled. There's no doubt about it. But one thing I have noticed, if you've been watching and following everything that Donald Trump is doing right now, and you look and you see from some of the speeches that Biden and Kamala Harris are finally starting to make now, after all this time of, drowning in their sorrows. Well, one doesn't know what's going on. The other one was face down in her drink, probably, Kamala. But if you pay any attention to it at all, right now, the whole administration, Biden, instead of being president and still working for the American people and trying to get things accomplished, he's more focused on pardons, preemptive pardons for anyone he can think of that might need it. Now I can literally think in my head and picture this, that they're sitting around this big table where maybe it would be the war room or something, or in the skiff where you leave all your phones outside and you can't take anything in or out. And they go in there and they sit down and they go, okay, we got to put a list together. Who was all involved in this? Who was involved in this? We got to do a preemptive pardon for, I heard a judge today. Should we cover all of my family, my brother, Jim, maybe my wife, Jill? Should we get all my kids? Should I do my staff members?
The neighbor.
Should I do, yeah, whoever? Should I do the Pentagon? Should I do Bragg? Should I do Letitia James? You guys and gals know exactly where I'm going with this. This is all he's worried about right now.
I don't even think it's him. There's no way
Well,
it's him.
yeah. But what is Trump doing? What's Trump doing right now? Trump's out negotiating for America, we the people. He's negotiating. If you watched what he did today, he had the big tech guy up there, that little Asian guy, and he's like, "Hey, you're gonna bring in $1 billion? Oh, how about we bring in $2 billion? Y'all, we can do that." And I'm like, man, the guy's relentless. He is working night and day already.
Yep.
And we still got what, 34, I don't know, 35, whatever days we have left. He's already working to make America great again and better. Trade deals, trying to get corporations to come back. He's telling corporations that we'll give you tax breaks if you keep your stuff here, or if you come back again, like he did the first time around. So again, he's doing all the things that a true leader does for a country, whether it's a man or a woman. That's the leader. This is what a true leader does. He's already talking to them. What was it, like an hour and 15 minutes today, hour and a half? He stood up in front of those people. And the only thing I noticed different about today when him answering questions was the questions that were asked. He's always been more than willing to stand up there and answer everything flat out, openly. But the one thing that I did notice today, that was the type of questions that were being asked. They're more civilized now, as opposed to what they were in the past. So now I'll go on a limb and say this: if I ever see that little Jim Acosta, I call him Jimmy now. If I ever see little Jimmy on the street, I might get myself in trouble.
Little Jimmy, don't come out and play.
No, I don't think me and Jimmy gonna get along very well. I don't like Jimmy. Jimmy, bad boy.
Jimmy will get a swirly in the toilet room.
Yeah, he needs a butt whooping. He does. A 55-gallon can full of you know what. That's what he needs. Whoop ass. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it just seems like the media was a little bit more civilized, probably a whole lot more actually, which is a good thing. And they're asking a lot of good questions that we want to know finally. And they're not so much focused on the stupidity and the lies and the propaganda that was being spread in the first term. So hopefully this is a good sign for America. And again, he's always been like this. He's always stood up there and answered all the questions and told it like it was. And I don't know any other leader that's ever been this way. And I guarantee you, we're going to see daily some kind of press briefings to where they're going to keep the American people up to date. And we're going to see a whole new press room completely, where we're going to see teams. I've already heard them talk about this on Dan Bongino show. He's not sure, but he will hire someone and put it together where they can be in the room, because they're not going to be just legacy media in there anymore. Trump wants to bring in podcasters. Trump wants to bring in people from like the Steven Crowder show, the Bongino show, Patrick Bet-David. I mean, all these different people that are again in podcasts and social media, the influencers, and people are like, well, why would you do that? That's not traditional. Well, because this is where people are at now. This is where we're all going to get our news. People are watching podcasts. People are watching live streams. This is where they're getting their information from. This is where the truth is being spoken about. They're not going to CNN and CBS and ABC anymore. So Donald Trump is smart enough to know, and the people around him what should we do? Well, we're not going to CNN or MSNBC. That's not going to get us anywhere. Nobody's watching anymore.
People my age don't go to that. They listen, like you
No.
said, Spotify, podcast,
Yep.
iHeartRadio, Rumble, YouTube. We don't
Yep.
flick on TV. We don't have cable. People don't know what news stations are.
No, not at all. Not at all. And, you know, and the good thing about it is, and I say this to people all the time, and it's almost like we're, you know, getting senile and crazy, but I'm not. I can get into the chat and I can guarantee you, I could go down the line here. Joe, just at the bottom, Mr. Scott Awesome, Joe, Francis, Frank, whatever you want to call, you, who else is in here? Monkey, my wife, your best friend, trying to see who else, but whoever's in here, I can almost guarantee you that there's several of you that have different opinions about specific things. And that is fine. And that's the way it should
That's what
be.
you
I don't
need.
want everybody thinking exactly the same or agreeing with everything that I say just because I'm the live stream, you know, host or whatever. It doesn't matter.
The world
We're
would
here
never
to,
go round if that was the case. Because if we thought the same, then we're never going to improve.
yeah. And like Mr. Scott Awesome said, they should not allow any legacy media in. It would force semi-normies out of their bubble. Yeah, I mean, you know, I just think it's a really good thing. I think it's a very smart move. They're on top of it right now. And again, this is where you can remember, or I can go back to my childhood, and I can think Joe could do the same thing. Karen, a lot of us, we could look back and see how media has changed over the years. It was hardly anything on TV. Then it got to the point where after the 10 o'clock news in the evening, it would go off the air. And then it got to where they were doing some kind of advertisements. And then it became a 24-hour thing. So you no longer got the national anthem. And then you got this, whoosh, you know, like snow or whatever the case would be. Or maybe it was just a round target looking thing with number, whatever they had up there, depending on what part of the country you were in. There was no such thing as 24/7 TV. And now we have it. And now it's been destroyed, where they've destroyed it themselves because they've lied to us for all these years. And now it's like what we do, that's where it's at. People go to Dan Bongino, they go to Steven Crowder, they go to all Benny Johnson, they go to all these big wig type you know, people to get all of their news and information from. And then the other thing today was that, and I honestly believe this, someone posted on X and said, hey, there's, I don't know, rumor going around that they're going to cancel The View. And my thought process on this is, why cancel it? Leave them on TV. I say leave them on TV so that America can keep hearing about this. We can keep reporting about them. They give me awesome content when I want to put something on here and talk about their lunacy. Leave them on TV. Why, you might ask? Well, guess why? Because it proves to everybody that they are lunatics. And it proves our point for us. Leave each and every one of them on there. Let them keep spewing their nonsense, their hatred, and all their craziness. And they're going to do 3/4 of the work for us the next time around for the election. Just let it happen. I think it'll be okay. Here we go. Sean said the shaman rescheduled for January 4th. He was very apologetic. Well, I'll tell you what, Sean, if he doesn't show up on January 4th, you need to hunt him down and take those horns and yeah. Yes. I'd say get him. So we was just talking about you Canadians up there, trying to figure out why the loss of confidence in Justin Trudeau. So do you think he's going to be resigning or anything there? Be curious to see what you thought. Serious question, Lou. What is your favorite meal? My favorite meal? I told you the other night when we were going back and forth on
Steak and
X.
potatoes.
It's steak, porterhouse, or petite filet mignon, or good old Southern crispy fried chicken.
Mm.
It don't get no better than that. There you go. Or some good old southern fried catfish with hush puppies. Like them do.
You know, I've never had catfish.
Ooh, come on, girl.
I know.
Woo. Wow.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, that's one of the ones that I haven't tried yet.
I'm reading Joe's post. Joe goes, Lou, there are millions who have cognitive dissonance. They are enamored with a way of thinking, and they actually feed off of lunacy. I say, take the propagandist off the air, my opinion.
Steak
then
and
we're gonna-
taters.
Yeah, we're gonna forget
Oh.
though. It's a daily reminder. Steak and taters. Yep, there you go. I love my.
When I was pregnant, Tammy, with my son, I craved barbecued steak tips, mashed potatoes, and chocolate milk. But the chocolate milk had to have ice in it. Like it had to be cold, cold, cold. Oh,
Yeah, I love my baked potatoes too, or really any kind of potato. I'm a mud spud guy. I got to tell you that too. But I can do the baked tater, but I like to do it like the jacket potato a lot too. And what that is like I take that big potato like they do over in the UK, and you cut across about maybe a 1/4 inch deep. You cut across both ways, and you open it up and you put it in there for about 2 hours or so, and then you cut it a little bit deeper and put it in there. And what happens is the outside gets really crispy, and then the inside is like just soft, like cotton or pillow. So that's good stuff. My
Olive
wife
cheese.
craved olive cheese pizza. No, I don't think so. No.
My girls, I craved sweet stuff.
No, sir. Me no like that. I like pizza though, but
I like
Chris goes, Lou goes both ways. What did I miss? What? Oh, Chris. My goodness. So you come over here to get your fix, huh?
Even Papa John knew my wife was pregnant. That's a good one.
Oh my goodness. It wasn't the milkman or the UPS guy. It was the Papa John's guy.
Papa John's.
Well, what you really have to watch out for is not the Papa John's guy, but the what's the other one? Jimmy John's. Freaky fast. Oh my gosh. Oh, we'll leave that one alone. Oh man, Lou, Pizza Hut, Meat Lovers Pizza, my favorite. Yeah. Years ago,
I like bar pizza.
I was a teenager, I guess, maybe early 20s. They had a place, maybe some of you all would know from the Midwest, called Pantera's. They used to have really good pizza. And then I think there's only like one left, maybe in Illinois somewhere. And they went out of business, or it's somewhere in Missouri. But anyway, it was called Pantera's, and it was really, really good pizza. But they kind of went out.
I have one kid who does not like pizza.
Ooh, yeah, pizza's good too.
Mm-hmm.
Pizza's real good. So, but I mean, I like a lot of foods, but Godfathers? No, I never did like Godfathers. I don't know. There was something. Domino's, Godfathers. It's always either been Pizza Hut or I don't know. I think it's pretty much Pizza Hut anymore. You can't get a good pizza anywhere.
I like
they
bar
always say
pizzas. They're more, I like crunchy. I like my pizza crispy.
Yeah, I like thin crust better. I really do. Oh, I will say this. There's a place in Nebraska. Where is that place at? And what isn't it a cheeseburger pizza that we get up there, babe?
Oh, you
When
sent
we
me a
go to that-
picture of that.
Yeah. We go there. Like
Mm.
Valentino's, I think's the name of the place up in Nebraska where we stay overnight. And anyway, I think it's the cheeseburger. They got a cheeseburger pizza, and there's another one that we really liked. But we always get pizzas from there. And oh, look at that. What? How do you when she's talking to somebody else about not liking pizza?
Yeah, my Emma hates pizza.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, Valentino's up in Nebraska. Look that one up. That's really, really good stuff. And but a cheeseburger pizza, I never thought I would like that, but I mean, it's awesome. It's a really good aren't too many Valentino's left, huh? Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, that's the only one I've ever heard of was up in Nebraska, and I can't even remember. I think it's close to. I don't know if it's Nebraska and Iowa where it's close to. Yeah, I know that. I got the name, but what town is that we stay in when we get that? Because I just know that I think it's close to Iowa too. So maybe they got some up in Iowa. But yeah, that's really good. But that's pretty much my favorite foods. And if I was to be honest, I could live off of steak and I could live off of fried chicken, but it has to be good Southern fried chicken and good sweet tea. Enough tea to with the sugar in it to make your teeth curl and everything else. So I like my Southern sweet tea. And when we go places, I'll say I said, I want sweet tea without lemon, and they'll be like, okay, and they'll bring it out to you, and I drink it, and I go, what is this? This is like there's nothing in it. There's no sugar in this whatsoever. And then I'm putting pack after pack after pack in there, and I get it really, really sweet. And I don't like a lot of sugar, but I want my tea super sweet because
Just
I
like
like
your
that.
lady.
Yep. Oh, she said, yeah, it's right on the border of Iowa and Nebraska. So before we cross over into Iowa, when we're heading back home, or if we're heading up to South Dakota, yeah, we go through there. So, yes, fried chicken. We have a local store that makes it, and Rhonda and I pretty much get pretty. Let me start over. And Rhonda and I get pretty well every other Sunday. I think I know what he's saying. Yeah, they eat it about every other Sunday. So, but yeah, it's if you don't, it has to be a specific. We have a place that's up in St. Louis. I'll go to every once in a while. It's called Hodak's, and they have this special recipe, and it's really, really good chicken, fried chicken, and it's been there for I don't know 50 years or more. And, but anyway, really, that's my favorite chicken, but there is a place out here close to us, and, we get it from there now. But I'm very, very picky, finicky, if you might wanna say, when it comes to fried chicken. So, Nebraska City, Nebraska, there you go. That's exactly, where that place is where we stay and get that Valentino's. They'll deliver it to us, so I don't know. Chris is going on about something. I'm missing all this stuff in the comments. So thanks for catching that, Sean. Yeah, monkey. It was an interesting one. So, and I think Chris said he just came from
He was
Australia.
on Dharma Muth.
Dartmouth.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Dartmouth. Dartmouth. Hmm. In St. Louis, did you ride the washing machine drum up to the arch? I haven't been up in the arch since I was a kid. Man, that's you would have thunk that they could have done a better job, but that thing's been up since what, 1965, I believe is when they first finished that. So I don't know. They need to redo that whole thing. That thing's horrible. You're like in like an egg with like 3 or 4 other people. So I don't know. One good thing about it is you got to walk some stairs. If it ever breaks down, you can get out and you got to walk all the way down. And I think there's like 16 windows on each side, if I remember correctly, something like that. Anyway, yeah, let's not talk about St. Louis. That's depressing. St. Louis and Kansas City are like, they're just like rat infested places. You don't want to, that's not good stuff. Camel Wife, most of the restaurants closed and they went to a Domino style carry out and delivery only. So, something that it just crossed my mind is that when I was a kid, I don't know how many of you all have Steak and Shakes, but Steak and Shake used to, when my parents would go there, we would pull up into a parking spot and the girls would come out on roller skates and with these trays, and they would set your food right on your window, and you all would sit there and grab your food and sit in the car and eat. That's what Steak and Shake used to do. They used to
We have a
deliver your
Sonic.
food. Well, we have Sonic, but they never had roller skates, and girls that brought it out to you on roller skates with their trays. You probably don't. I don't think they probably had that around when you were born. Yeah, Joe might remember something like that. I don't know if they did that in Indiana, but I don't know where all the Steak and Shakes were. I mean, they probably had other restaurants that did the same thing. So, oh, the Flintstones used to show that. Only you, Sean. Oh, wow. Yeah, a little bit different, but didn't their car fall over whenever they would do that? They would go and lay on its side or something. Ah, yeah, crazy stuff. So, but anyway, anything else in the headlines today that we didn't catch? I'm gonna go in here and look real quick because I took some pictures and I save a lot to my phone when I run across articles so that I don't forget about them for like a show coming up or what have you. Let's see what we got in here. That was Dr. Pierre Core. We already talked about that. Oh, that's another thing that people are, the left is saying. There's this account out there called at AES Politics One AES. Oh, this guy, he's a winner. He posted something and
Is
said
he
Trump
ruffling?
just, huh?
He ruffling the feathers?
A little bit. Not mine. He just makes statements all the time. Y'all can find him. He posts a lot. But Alpha Echo Sierra AES at AES Politics One. But he goes, Trump just said that the Ukraine war is harder to end than he expected. No. He says, no, you effing moron. So, in other words, no kidding. And that's the kind of stuff that the guy puts out there all the time. So that was one posting that I saved, and we were talking about how all these leftists are just losing their minds. And then there was another one here, Colin Rugg. I follow him too at Colin Rugg. Get a lot of good information from him. There's this show up on Broadway called And Julie at Broadway.com. Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson makes her Broadway debut in And Juliet, a queer twist on Romeo and Juliet. So, I mean, there's just so much crazy stuff going on. A lot of people are like, oh, who cares if she's a Supreme Court justice and she's up there, doing this and doing that. But I don't know. I come from an era where you do things in high positions like that professional all the time, and you just avoid specific things so that it doesn't give the illusion or the appearance that you're in favor of one thing over the other. And I don't think they care anymore nowadays. I think it's whatever I want to do, no matter what you think. And people just don't think in a professional way, as far as I'm concerned. Sean says, as far as my government, it's in a lot of trouble. Justin Trudeau will not resign, however, because he is an arrogant, egotistic narcissist that believes that he can smooth his way through any obstacle. So it is true that a lot of these people are resigning, though, from what we're hearing down here. And it sounds like Gavin Newsom. Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on in the headlines today. And I think we can all appreciate, we're in a really, really crazy place. Oh, here's another one. This was Rich from CA at the Rich from Cali. That's his handle on X, at the Rich, RICH from Cali. Says Rich from California. I can't wait for the day we will never hear from Donald Trump again. How about you? And it's got a picture of Donald Trump laying in a coffin. I mean, has anyone, well, there might be some, but not me. And I don't know anybody right off the top of my head that would wish this upon Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi or anybody else. Matter of fact, the other day when I heard that she fell down and broke her hip, I said prayers for a speedy recovery. I don't wish, because a lot of times these hip replacements and stuff, once you fall down and break, you go downhill from really quick from there. I don't wish that upon anybody. So for these lunatics on the left again to do this kind of crap, stop. Just stop. There is no respect for the office, authority, or law when it comes to the left. No. Yes, people are resigning and are refusing to take high cabinet positions because we are at the point where the Titanic has long since begun to sink. It's breaking in half. Yeah. So all the stories we are hearing are true. Joni Ernst was shocked by the blowback by Pete Hegseth. Confirmation. Oops, did I do that? Joni and several others. So I think, we played a clip on that the other night. And I don't know why they're surprised, because it's almost like, well, if you don't do what we want you to do. We're going to primary you, or we're going to vote you out of office. And I made the comment, um, well, that's how it works. When we, the people, aren't happy, we're supposed to get rid of you and not have you stay in office like a Nancy Pelosi or a Joe Biden for 50 plus years. I mean, you're old and fragile now, and you're constantly trying to keep your teeth in your mouth, or I don't know, you're drunk. I don't know what you do, but yeah, it's time to move on. And again, that's how the process works. And that's the way it should have always been, is that if you're not doing what we the people want, we're going to remove you. So why do these politicians seem so surprised when we do stuff like this? It makes no sense to me. It's pretty crazy. And I think it's because they get comfortable and they get complacent in their positions. So it's like, okay, well, we're going to be here forever. Nobody can touch us. Nobody can remove us. Nobody's going to vote us out. So we're going to do whatever we will, whatever we please. And you're just going to have to accept it, whether you like it or not. And that's what it's really boiling down to. So another point I wanted to make, talking with Chris back and forth, when I mentioned about being professional, again, when I was younger, when you went on a job interview, most of the time you wore a suit. I mean, you dressed pretty spiffy, as we would call it. You dressed the job. If you wanted something higher up, you really went in and tried to impress somebody by looking sharp. You didn't go in with holes in your jeans, or half your body showing, have a halter top on with no bra on, or whatever the case would be. It's called respect for the position. I think all presidents should wear a suit and tie and stuff like that. We had this conversation on the show one time, I think when Jesse was a co-host, if I remember correctly, about what's the guy from Philly, Fetterman, how he wears the hoodie all the time and shorts. And I know the guy had a stroke and had some medical issues and whatnot, but he's still in a position where I think he should be wearing a suit. He should be dressing for the position, the occasion. It's a professional position. He should dress as such. Call that old fashioned, that's fine. But that's still how I see it and believe. You're supposed to dress on a level above what you would wear at the job. Yeah, just do something nice. The 4 C's, Lou, remembered them. That's what many, and I mean many, of a representative goes through when they get into office. I don't even think in terms of 4 C's. Tell me what that is, Joe, because it's eluding me now. But again, it's just dress the occasion and, educate yourself, speak normal. Don't speak like you're from some, gang or hood or whatever. Just, be nice and be professional. That's what we need. He was doing that before the stroke as a governor. I don't know. I mean, Fetterman was just one of those. He was one of those guys where I saw him and I'm like, are you serious, dude? Come on. Just get the hoodie off and dress normal. He just looks so, I don't know. Some of those guys, when you look at him, like I said, Jerry Nadler, he looks like the Hamburglar, is what Jerry Nadler reminds me of. A little bitty, short, round guy that I'll gladly pay you Tuesday or something, like Mr. Wimpy or something. He's going to eat like a whole plate of burgers, and I don't know. Jamie Raskin, all of these people, Adam Schiff. I said this before, and I feel horrible for saying it, but they just look so corrupt and dirty. There's just something about them. Oh, when they get they compromise and they complacent, and then they get compliant, and then they wind up being complicit. Yeah. So I mean, all of that's true. That's exactly what they do. Fetterman, hey you guys.
Hey, you guys.
I always thought he looked like the Penguin from Batman Returns. Yeah, I mean that's another good description right there. But yeah, there's
That's
just
a
a
good
bunch
one.
of clowns up there. What was that one?
I said that was a good one.
Yeah, it was actually the Goonies. The Goonies. I just realized he's coming in from X. So, what's the
Yeah.
weather like up there in Iowa anyway? You guys still getting some? We were 60 degrees here today, sunny and breezy. I mean,
Getting
we're
that
still
storm.
saturated. It's muddy here. And I think we got more rain coming, actually, if I'm not mistaken. So, a couple
Hopefully it
times.
doesn't like freeze on you. That would be no bueno.
No, I mean, well, it's like I keep telling everybody, the longer each day that goes by that we have warm weather or rain, it's a day without being cold temperatures or freezing or snow. I want the cold weather to kill off some of the bugs and stuff, but I do not, I just don't want to ice and snow. I don't know. I'm past the snow right now. I want a light dusting every once in a while that's going to cover the trees and cover the grass, but not the roads. Then I'd be happy. I would be really happy. So nice in Nebraska. Yeah. Well, you guys, Nebraska, Iowa, I think you're for the most part, you're a little bit colder than we are for the most part. We don't really get cold in central Missouri or southern Missouri like a lot of places up north. You start getting into the warmer area. But I mean, we get hit with some ice stuff and all that, but you'd have to go like into southern Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, a little bit farther south. They don't even know what a snowplow is down there. So it's pretty bad. They're not used to that kind of weather. And then you start seeing signs that say bridges will freeze up in cold weather or bad weather because of the wind going underneath and the wind going over the top. So that's gonna be the first place that you're gonna probably lose control. Start sliding around. A snow what? Yeah. Well, he's in Georgia. You probably don't even have any down in where you're at in Georgia, do you? Probably don't have snow down there. It'll kill all them peaches. What's the matter with you? You getting sick?
It better not be.
Cougars, cocaine, cash, and chlamydia.
So that
That's
was like
the
monkeys. Did you see
that's the
monkeys? Monkeys 4 C's was candy, cigars, cognac, and cash.
oh my goodness. Well, see, Joe, that's what you started. Everybody's coming up with their own. Joe says, Monk, mine are Christ, Christianity, convicted and complicit. Went through 15 tons of salt on Saturday. That's a lot. But it didn't get that bad there, though, from what you were saying. And like I said, we're really warm, so we're going to be in the upper 50s and 60 to low 60s here the last couple days, but we'll take it. It's just real soggy. You walk out on the grass and you're like, you just sink. So you got to have boots on. That's how wet it is here. So nowhere
How
for
are
the
the
water to
chickens
go.
holding up?
They're doing fine. They're doing fine. We got 9 eggs today, and yeah, got 9 eggs. I mean, they slow down. They always slow down this time of year. I finally put the extra heating lamp in, or the heating lamp, not an extra one, but I put a heating lamp in their chicken house now so that they have more light because of the shorter days. So they'll start laying more eggs again. They'll slow down and then they'll pick back up. And then I think this coming spring we'll get some more chickens, some more hens, and start raising them from chicks. And then because in a couple years we'll be swapping these out, getting rid of them. And you're
You
8
eat 'em?
salt. Woo! Shh, that's bad up in Canada. Y'all can
Well,
keep
8
that.
Celsius is what in Fahrenheit?
I don't know, but it's cold up there. That's all I can tell you.
Let's see here.
You looked that up. Yeah, we do Fahrenheit. We don't do Celsius. We're on the right side of things, not the wrong side.
Oh, that's 47 degrees.
It's still cold. I'm in the 60s. Why do I want to be in the 40s?
That's warm. 47 is warm. I
It
would
is
take
for Canada, yeah.
we were
But
43 today, I think. Tomorrow we're supposed to get warm. We're getting your warm air tomorrow.
yeah, well, enjoy it because, like I said, each day that we have warm weather is one day that we don't have to deal with cold weather, and the closer we get to spring. So I'm ready. Fahrenheit is gay. There's no reason to have your temperature set to brine. Set it to water. Speaking of that, I am in favor. I heard this. We get the nasty stuff only. Oh, okay. I wish that was the case. I love nasty thunderstorms. I could
I
do that
love
storm chase and
storms.
stuff too. I could do that for a living. But anyway, Trump's talking about that daylight savings time stuff. I wish they would do the spring forward and just keep it there. Daylight saving times is such a waste. Get rid of it. There's no need for it anymore. Done. That's it. I
Mhm.
think we should all just get rid of it. And I'm hoping that he does, because I'm really looking forward to that. So, oh man, that's really, I mean, that's always been like, I think we talked about that not too long ago here in the state of Missouri, like 2 or 3 years ago. It was actually supposed to be on the list of bills. And for whatever reason, it just lost all of its momentum and they just dropped it to the wayside and quit talking about it. And I'm like, no, guys, no, please vote this in. We don't want to fall back and spring forward. This stuff is ridiculous. So I want the longer days all the time. I want the most daylight. I think that's the coolest way to do so. Just keep doing it that way. What if we scrap both times and split the difference at 30 minutes and we never change back again? It's Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus, best of both times. Miley Cyrus. Yeah. Crazy. Crazy lady. So, but anyway, did anybody get any updates at all from the I haven't even looked. Did we get anything for the school shooting at all? Or is it still pretty much status quo on what we were talking about earlier? I'm going back
I
now
don't
to
know.
see.
Can now.
Do, do, do. That's somebody I didn't see in here tonight. I just checked my messages, my DMs on X, and Lori Lee. I didn't see her in here tonight. Hmm. Trying to see what if there's anybody posting anything as far as I posted something about the J6 not being an insurrection, and someone posted on there it was a riot, and Democrats used to like riots. I thought. Oh my goodness, that was a good one. Here's a Tucson blonde. She's I guess talking to me. Your vast stupidity is typical of a maggot. What kind of sick, twisted moron says there is no such thing as a trans kid? Me? I can't wait until you filthy cultists get everything that is coming to you, but are too stupid to see coming. The worst America has to offer. And then I get the bird. She flipped me the bud. See what I mean?
People are so mean.
What is up with that? There is no such thing as a trans kid. You might call it that, but no. I posted another thing today that showed the difference in the pelvic region, the bones. I think you even saw it, Gina, that showed the difference on the angle
Yeah.
at the bottom of the pelvic. The
Was
wider is
it
the middle. Yeah. And
16 or 19 degrees? And then the other one was
yeah,
bigger. Yeah.
21 or yeah. That's it. I think Joe even got in on that one. Somebody did, but you're either a boy or a girl, XY, XX, your chromosomes, none of that stuff's going to change. And when they find your skeleton later on, if they ever do, that was the whole point of the post. They're going to identify you as a male or a female. And until you can tell me from the beginning of time all the way up until now, when have you ever seen anything other than a boy or a girl being born? I want to know about it because, man, I want to see what this is. Oh, maybe it's Bigfoot. I don't know. Maybe they don't have genitalia or something. I don't know. I have no clue. But there you go. There's the love. I love you, Tucson Blonde. If you're listening to me on X, I just read your post at Tucson Blonde. And I hope you're not from Tucson, Arizona, because I love that town. I love Tombstone, which is just south of Tucson. You can't be that mean out there. Come on. It's got to be a made up name. But you really called me a filthy cultist. Now I want to go shower again. I feel dirty. I feel like a maggot. I'm a twisted moron. Ah, wow. Yeah, all you got to do is go through the feeds, and you're going to see where all the crazies are at. Like I said, they've come out of the woodwork like roaches. They really, really have. Um, hmm. And then this one here says, I made a comment that why wasn't any of the J6 prisoners charged with insurrection? And somebody by the name of A50 character limit seem pretty extreme if you ask. Oh my goodness, what a name.
Mm.
But anyway, it said they were charged with seditious conspiracy, basically the same thing. But you're locked into one specific word. No, I'm not locked into insurrection. You all were locked into insurrection. I didn't come up with it. You all kept saying it. I mean, if it was an insurrection, you'd think we'd all be armed. And number two, you would think
They
that
would have been
somebody
charged.
would have been charged with insurrection, but not one person was. Why? Because it never happened the way you see it. It wasn't an insurrection. Because if it was, we would have taken over the government. It'd have been over with already. And then this one here. Squire Nut. Ah, he's an old looking dude. Squire Nut says, yeah, smearing feces on the Capitol walls is just normal tourist activity. I didn't hear about any of that. So anybody did that, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, you're pretty sick. I did see a posting today where, I don't know, on one of the pillars or the columns, the concrete pylons or something, someone allegedly put a swastika and spray paint on there. And I'm sure they're thinking it was one of us, but I don't know anybody on our side that would, spray paint that up there. Anyone who does stuff like that, it's usually from the left, trying to make it sound and look as if it's somebody on the right would have done that. But I don't know anybody who acts in that way, who would deface a monument or anything else with any kind of spray paint or symbol, names. We just don't do that. We actually respect monuments, even ones that I don't agree with. If I saw George Floyd's monument, I'm not going to spray paint it. I'm just going to pass on by and act as if I've never seen it because it means nothing to me. It's not going to affect the way I think or do anything. So, yeah, that's thin-skinned leftists, and they're very weak-minded people because that's all they can do is attack us and call us names, and then they block me. And I just don't think that's a very nice thing to do. I hurt my widow feelings today.
My widow feelings were hurt.
Oh, this one here, Karen C. Wow, I like this one. This one says, I know you're a silver-tongued devil. And you just opened that mouth of
Uh-oh.
yours, and the girl jailers fall all over themselves to help you out. I hope that wasn't directed at me. Well, I guess it was because Big Nose
Blue.
Kate, yeah, Big Nose Kate goes, how can we not? Oh, that's when you got in there and said what Kate said. We love you, Lou. You see? Look at these people are mean.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I've only
Oh.
been attacked in one post, and it was the post that my daughter did in school.
Yeah, I remember that. That's terrible. But anyway,
like,
that's what
really?
we're up against. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Here's another one. Oh, that one's on my side, so enough of that nonsense. But there you go, people. That's exactly why George Floyd was a known criminal. Yes, he was, who died of a fentanyl overdose.
Actually, I was just reading something. I wonder if I still have it on my thing. That according to the hospital report, he may have been alive when he got to the hospital.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, I guess I should show them a little bit more love and respect, the mean people. You got to kill them with kindness. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I want to overwhelm them with kindness. There you go. A green siren. Joe put up a green siren. That's what it shows on our
Wee woo,
board.
wee woo.
Yeah, it doesn't show the siren. It just
Breaking
says green siren.
breaking 911 on Twitter
Yeah.
confirmed Madison school shooter ID'd as Natalie Rupnow, age 15. Police say she went by the name Samantha.
Wonder why she changed her name. I did
I don't
notice that
know.
in the story earlier. I wonder why she did change her name or why she chose that name to go by. Very interesting. Sam. There you go. Sam. Son of Sam. Samantha. Sam. Sammy. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything to that or not. Let's be honest about it regardless. Make a few jokes about it, but in all honesty, it's sad that no matter what she was going through, that she felt she had to do that and then to take her own life. Um, I mean, that's a young age to be in that state of mind. Again, I can't even fathom that thought of being her parents, and I just hope that
Sad.
I
It
don't know
would have
what
been her own
Wisconsin
thing.
laws are, but I hope that the parents don't get drug into this unless they like literally handed her the weapon or let her have access to it. You know how that can go. They can drag parents into it, but I don't know. This is just not a good thing all the way around. So, but never a good situation when youngins lose their lives and
Yeah.
kids.
I mean,
You
you got
know,
to look at it from a sympathetic voice, with reason too. Like, how bad was her life? What did she feel inside? You know what I mean? I'm not condoning, obviously, anything that they did,
yeah.
but mental health just, I mean,
Or did
I
she
just
even try to
don't.
talk to anybody? You know, who
The
knows?
demon she must have been fighting,
Yeah,
atrocious, the poor thing.
yeah. It had to be. It had to be pretty bad to be in to end up in that position. So
Yeah.
that was the saddest thing at all. But yeah, Joe, have a good one. We'll see you Wednesday night. We're gonna be calling it quits here in just a couple minutes anyway. But it's like every time we see this pop up, it's just frustrating for me because they don't even give anybody time to mourn, and then they just start attacking and going after gun control and all of that, and it's sick. um I know somebody posted and said something about, oh, here we go, and the right's not gonna you know uh, see this, but we have to do something about these guns. And I say the same thing I've always said in the past. If you truly think that it's a problem with guns, then go set that gun in the corner and sit there and watch that thing, a rifle. And that rifle will never, ever move until you or another human being goes and picks it up. It'll never, never happen. Sean did an amazing breakdown of the Nashville Shooter Manifesto that I haven't seen anyone come close to. He looked at it from an ADHD autism perspective. Yeah, I mean, pretty crazy stuff when you think about it. When you have that, you have drugs involved, and these drugs that we were talking about earlier in the show, the SSRIs and everything. I mean, we don't know except for what these clinical trials are, that were hidden, and how they affect you and make you psychotic and all these other things to go on top of a lot of this stuff. So, chemical imbalances with medication, topped, it's like putting toppings on ice cream. You just keep adding to it. And our
Yeah.
bodies aren't made for that. It's sad.
No, but even like postpartum depression, I mean, that has nothing to do except for your own body dumping hormones. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I hopefully I'll never have to go through anything like that. Of course, I never would go through some of the things a woman would go through, but depression's just not one of my things. I'm very fortunate there, so things
I
just
don't
kind
get
of fall where they
depression.
do.
Maybe a
And
little bit. I'm more in anxiety ridden.
Yep.
But
Good
I
night,
think that, you know,
your best
that just
friend.
comes with life. And I think that has to do with having kids too, because you're always nervous. You're always like, oh my God, they're going out. Oh,
Yep.
he's taking the keys to the car. I hope, you know what I mean? So I think it's more of like a mother. I don't know. We just take everybody's problems in.
Oh, absolutely. So, but anyway, yeah, I mean, sad stuff. Hopefully, everybody there gets through this, and kind of like the police chief had mentioned and said that this is going to affect people even who weren't affected by the shooting, so to speak. So, in other words, all the other kids there that maybe were in a different building, but they're going to know that that happened very close to them on that campus. Um, and they're going to have to deal with that. So who knows how the kids are going to take it, where how the fear is going to set in and all that. Plus the parents are going to be worried. It's just another thing that's added to everyday life, fears, thoughts, and it's just sad that we have to go through stuff like that. But again, it is one of those things that I've talked about before that because of so many of our freedoms and liberties, rights, whatever you want to call everything, it affords us to be open to some of this stuff happening. And that just means that we are a society, a country that we love our guns, and sometimes those guns are used for nefarious things, and we have to we have to deal with it. And it's unfortunate, but it's going to happen as long as there's evil in the world. And it's no different than anything else. You know, we make specific laws to protect us, and sometimes those specific laws, like the drones, well, you can't just shoot them down because we made laws to prevent you from doing that. But what if, I feel, threatened or whatever? Well, you could get in trouble if you shoot one down. I mean, there's just so many laws that we have that we think are for the best and to protect us, but sometimes they actually cause us harm because they're in place. Kind of like somebody's breaking into your house. Well, they always joke, and it is true. Make sure they come in your house before you shoot them. Well, it could be too late. Maybe I miss them or something. And then once you shoot them in your house, make sure they don't get back outside of your house. They die in your house. So you see what I'm saying? There's so many laws and things that are in place that it's like, well, they're really meant to protect us, but sometimes they kind of harm us because of the way that things work out. So,
Mhm.
anyway, all right. Well, again, today's headlines were pretty nasty. A lot of hatred flying around and a lot of sadness. But I think we're going to be putting up with that for the next 30 something days and even probably the next couple years, at least 2 years. This is going to be a hell of a roller coaster ride, I would assume. And I say 2 years because Trump's got 2 years to make stuff happen, and then we're going to be in the midterms, and we have to hopefully gain more seats in the House and the Senate. So who knows? She tricked her father into getting the gun.
The gun.
Yeah. Well, I
Only
mean,
15 years old. They don't need a gun or the codes to the gun safe if you have one.
yeah, we have safes, yeah, that are locked and have codes and all of that. So there's no access to them. There's no way they can get into them, but they know all about them and they know not to touch them and all that stuff. So, but anyway, that's the best you can do. And yeah, whether it was 15 or 17, that's you still shouldn't be having a 9 millimeter or access to it unless mom and pop are with you at all times. So either way, that's still too young. They're not ready to be carrying anything like that. So that's a huge responsibility, and it's too much for a young kid at that age to have to deal with. So parents shouldn't be doing that. Train them with them, teach them how to use them, and train them, but never let them take them all the time and have access to them and carry them freely. So way too young. That's all I can say. So, all right. That's pretty much all we had. I kind of like that format. We didn't have a whole lot of videos in this one. And I'm not going to lie, it was because I've been so busy all weekend and the fight Saturday night and all the other stuff going on. And I thought, you know what? we're going to do more of an open mic type thing where we just talk more, and kind of worked out that way. I kind of like that. So doesn't always have to have so much news and information in there that we can talk a little bit more. I think it worked out just fine. So,
I agree.
all right. Yeah, that's single shot 410 age, not handgun. Yeah, and that's what you start squirrel hunting with or something. Rabbit hunting. I started out with a 3-shot 410 bolt action. So, and 22 is definitely not good because it goes too far long range, even though it's a very small caliber. So, and that's good for squirrel hunting too, headshots. But yeah. But anyway, still, you don't want the kids shooting something that can go a mile or half mile away, especially if they got bad aim. So, all right, everybody, it's been real. I know there's some other shows going on out there, and we had a new follower tonight from another show. I don't know if he's in here. He did DM me, which I will respond back, but I want to pull him up. The name was Liberty Tonight Show. Liberty Tonight Show. Life, Liberty, and Comedy, live 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Thursday nights. And looks like they got 3 followers. Or he does. I think it's he by himself, possibly. I'm not sure. But anyway, another show on Rumble. So if you want to go give them a look-see, Liberty Tonight Show on Rumble. And they did follow us, and he reached out possibly about maybe finishing up our show and then going right into his, or him coming on our show. So we got a lot of stuff going on in the future. So we'll see how that all pans out. But anyway, thank you for reaching out, Life, Liberty, and Comedy. And I just followed you as well as we were speaking. So cool. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for everything that you guys and gals have done, all the support and being in here, and slacking, cut off the blackout. We just ordered some more tonight, another 5-pound bag, actually. I had the wife do it. So we just almost finished with a 5-pound bag, and we're getting ready to order another one. So, but yeah, sometimes it takes up a lot of time. I mean, if anybody wants to volunteer to do all the research and find all the clips and everything, hey, let me know, and I'll let you send them to me, and I'll post them accordingly. So save me all the time. But yeah, just been a busy weekend, and we'll get back to it Wednesday and Friday for the shows. So, all right, Gina, you have anything before we wrap this one up?
Thanks for hanging, y'all.
All right. Yep. It was a pretty good night. It really was. Saw some good numbers. And again, real quickly, if you are listening on X or Rumble and you have not followed us, please, especially if you're on X and you have never downloaded the Rumble app, it is free of cost. It costs you nothing. And it's also a free speech platform. Go over to rumble.com, download it to your phone, your iPad, whatever you have, any smart device, your TV and your laptop, you can do it to anything. And while you're there, follow us at the Lose Views podcast. Give us a like, which is a thumbs up, and do that for this show too before you all skedaddle out of here. And we sure appreciate that. Give us a share, tell all your friends about us, subscribe, follow. It's all really important, and it helps. We're pushing, we're getting closer to 300. We're starting to get to 250. So tell all your friends and anybody you can about us, and have them give us a follow, and then join us in the chat. Don't just sit on the sides. Get in that chat and get that thing rolling, and talk to us. Tell us what you're thinking. And but yeah, we need more viewership, and we need more Rebel Nation members. So that's what we call ourselves over here. So if you're part of us, you're a part of the Rebel Nation. We really appreciate you and everything that you do. So thank you all. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless this great country we call the United States of America. Take care, my friends. We'll talk to you later. Good night.
You've been listening to Lose Views, where woke ideology gets destroyed. If you too are tired of the woke mob telling you how to think and live, then visit our website, at loseviewspodcast.com. Start following Lou on X at Lou's Show and watch the Lou's Views podcast on Rumble. Thanks for listening to Lou's Views.
Government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.